Good morning, everyone. It is Steve Lookner with Right Side Broadcasting coming to you with some breaking news. An Amtrak train has collided with a CSX freight train in South Dakota. There has been a collision between an Amtrak train and a CSX freight train in South Dakota. There are injuries reported. The details are just coming in, so we're not sure how this happened yet, why it happened, but we are going to, as soon as we can, get you more details here. So let me do something really quick here. So let me just show you the details as I'm getting them in. I'm just getting this in right now. This is a post by Kurt Cherbus. And it says, Amtrak says one of its trains collided with a CSX freight train around 2:35 a.m. this morning in South Carolina. Now, that is interesting because, now, that might be Pacific time. Even though it's South Carolina, the Kent Cherbus is, he's with the LA Times, so this might, actually, but it says 2:35. This is interesting. It says, but the Amtrak train 91 operating between New York and Miami came in contact with a CSX freight train around 2:35 a.m. in Casey, South Carolina. Now, if that's Eastern time, that happened 3 hours ago. It's very strange that we'd only be getting news of it now. Anyways, let's continue. The lead engine derailed. The lead engine derailed, as well as some passenger cars. So multiple cars of this train derailed. There were 8 crew members and approximately 139 passengers with injuries reported. Local authorities are on the scene responding. More information will be provided as available. I am suspicious of that 2:35 a.m. time. I'm wondering if it might have been, some kind of time zone mix-up. I can't imagine if a train derailed and hit another train and there's injuries, we'd only be hearing about this 3 hours later. So I'm going to try to get you more info on that. Let's see what I can find for you here. This information just coming in. This is the ABC News article, which just came out. Amtrak passenger train collides with freight train in South Carolina. Injuries reported. An Amtrak passenger train collided with a freight train in South Carolina early Sunday morning, causing injuries. It's the same statement from Amtrak. Now, this says Amtrak train 9T operating between New York and Miami. So this was a train that was operating between New York and Miami, and it collided with a CSX freight train in South Dakota. It says 2:35 a.m., which, again, sounds very strange to me that it's taken us 3 hours to hear about this, if this is true. The statement continued, the lead engine derailed as well as some passenger cars. Multiple cars derailed. There were 8 crew members and approximately 139 passengers with injuries reporting. So we want to find out more about this. Let me just make sure this sounds okay. Okay, so yeah, this is all just coming in. Just this news has just been reported in the last few minutes. So let's see what else we can find. Thank you, Guinevere and Lynn Jean, for being moderating the chat room right now. Appreciate it. And let's just see what else I can get you on this. We have a photo in. Well, they say first photo. It's the photo we already have shown you here. Photo from the site of a collision between Amtrak passenger train and freight train in South Carolina this morning. How did these trains collide? I have no idea. How would a passenger train collide with a freight train? Are they on the same track? How would they collide? Don't know. There was that accident a few days ago with members of Congress on an Amtrak chartered train where it hit a truck. Now, presumably that might have been the truck's fault. This seems like this seems like some kind of train operator mess up. If you have if an Amtrak train is running into a CSX freight train or colliding, or there's some kind of contact with several cars of the Amtrak train, including the engine, being derailed and injuries reported. So this is all just coming in. Very little information on this right now. Especially weird because the Amtrak statement reportedly said this happened 3 hours ago, which I find hard to believe. Let's see if we can find more. Now, NBC News, they had tweeted about this about 40 minutes ago. I probably started seeing news about it on 20 minutes ago, but that's no news. That's everything. We've been hearing all this, so we're trying to hear more on this. So what we do know is that the Amtrak train was going from New York to Miami. This collision of some sort happened in South Carolina. I'm seeing it might have happened in Columbia, South Carolina. That's unconfirmed right now. There were injuries. The engine and several other of cars derailed. To what the degree they derailed, I don't know. They could have slightly derailed. They could have gone way off the track. I just don't know right now. Here again is this statement we've seen, I showed you before, from Amtrak. Oops. Amtrak train 91 operating between New York and Miami came in contact with, don't know what that means, a CSX freight train at around 2:35 a.m. in Casey, South Carolina. The lead engine derailed as well as some passenger cars. That sounds pretty serious. There were 8 crew members and approximately 139 passengers with injuries reported. Local authorities are on the scene responding. Now, if this was really over 3 hours ago, I find it very strange this wasn't reported sooner. So I'm wondering if that time was wrong. But here, this just in from NTSB Newsroom. NTSB GO team is launching to investigate today's collision of an Amtrak train and CSX freight train near Casey, South Carolina. The coolest dad ever, thank you for the donation, and said, what's up with the trains lately? Well, there are frequent train accidents. We were reading an article when we were covering the train accident where it hit the truck with the members of Congress on that train that said between 2010 and 2014, the average number of train vehicle collisions per year was like 2,100. Like there's multiple per day. That's what at least the article said. But the point is that it's common, unfortunately, for trains to come into contact with vehicles. Now, for trains to come into contact with other trains like this and to derail, that is not so common. So maybe we can get some more information about this. If you have updates on this that you're seeing, write to me on Twitter, @Lookner, @LOOKNER. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? There's a typo here. There's a typo. I put South Dakota, and it's in South Carolina, and I've been saying South Carolina, but let me just correct that real quick in the video title. I was just getting on the air, and it's so late that I think I just had a little bit of a brain freeze. All right, that's Carolina in the description. Okay, fine. I have fixed that description. So now I have to just fix our right side broadcasting tweet. So give me 1 second, folks, while I just correct the right side broadcasting tweet. Thank you to Linda Smith for writing in and let me know I had made a mistake there in our tweet. And I think maybe the Facebook broadcast has the wrong state up there too. So I want to fix that before I continue. Correction. This happened in South Carolina. Sorry for the typo. Okay, that's up. Let me just get this there. Sorry, folks. We don't like to have false things in our headlines. So what I'm just doing here is fixing the Facebook headline, because I think that has South Dakota in it too. We apologize for that. And as soon as I fix that, I can get going bringing you more news on this. Yeah, I don't know well, I know why. It's because it's late and I was not at full mental capacity. Carolina, there we go. Carolina. The Facebook title is getting fixed. Everything is all good. We are all fixed up here, so thank you. South Carolina. Okay, let's see if I can get you more information on this. Thanks again, Linda Smith, for letting me know I had put that incorrect information up. Yeah, Matt Henderson said it too. We're on it, guys. Thank you. Okay, let's see what else I can find for you. Very little information about this so far. I'm seeing the same photo. I'm seeing Amtrak train and CSX freight train in South Carolina. We knew that already. Let me show you the place this happened. I was going to call this up on a map. Casey, South Carolina is where this happened. So I'm just showing you where Casey, South Carolina is. I guess it's right outside of Columbia. That's what it looks like. Because I looked up Casey. It is part of the Columbia, South Carolina metropolitan area. So here's Casey in the red there. Yeah, so basically this happened in Columbia, South Carolina. It's part of the Columbia, South Carolina metro area. The train was en route, I believe, between New York and Miami is where this train was operating, between New York and Miami. And it somehow collided with a CSX freight train. We don't know how that happened. Very odd that we have so little information on this. I mean, it's next to Columbia, South Carolina, so you'd think they'd get some cameras out there or something. Fox News, do they have anything new on their story? Let's see. Injuries reported, we knew that. We've seen that photo before. Again, once again, let me say, these articles are saying this happened at 2:35 a.m. I would be shocked if this really happened over 3 hours ago and we just heard about it about a half an hour ago. That would seem strange to me. This Lexington Sheriff. Let's click on them. 2 fatalities. 2 fatalities have been reported. Breaking news. Breaking news. I'm going to tweet this out. Two dead now. This is from the Lexington Sheriff's Department in South Carolina. Breaking. 2 fatalities. Sorry. I have to tweet this. Fatalities reported in Amtrak crash. Breaking news. I have not seen this anywhere else. I just happened to check the Lexington Sheriff's site in Lexington, South Carolina. 2 fatalities are reported. EMS has transferred more than 50 injured. More than 50 injured. I got to retweet that out too. More than 50 injured. Unbelievable. So I have not heard this reported anywhere else in the media yet. They just posted this about 4 minutes ago. 2 killed, 50 injured. 2 killed, 50 injured. Now what I want to do is change our headline here. Give me 1 sec, folks. Let me just get the headline changed on the broadcast, just so people tuning in can get that headline. Hang on, there's that, there's that, there's that. 2 dead. It says more than 50 injured. 50 plus injured in Amtrak train collision. Here's that. Main headline. Done. So this information just in a couple minutes ago, we first saw it a couple minutes ago when it had been posted for 2 minutes. There are 2 dead and over 50 injured in an Amtrak train collision in South Carolina it collided somehow with a CSX freight train. We have no idea how this happened. The Amtrak train was en route from New York to Miami. That's what we had heard. At least was traveling in between the 2 places. I assume it was going south. I can't confirm that right now. And 2 dead, 50 injured right now. So that's brand new information. That's Lexington Sheriff from Lexington, South Carolina. I wonder if Lexington is a county or a city. Lexington is a county in South Carolina where where this is. So this is the county, Lexington, where this accident happened. So I'm going to keep an eye on this Lexington Sheriff's site. But 2 dead, 50 injured. Let me try to get you some more information right now on this. Amtrak train had 139 passengers and 8 crew. We know that 139 passengers, 8 crew on that Amtrak train. NBC News also saying, South Carolina Emergency Management Division confirms there are both fatalities and injuries after Amtrak crash and derailment. Let me see if I can get, I wonder if the South Carolina they have a site, a Twitter feed, Carolina Emergency. Good, I got it. SCEMD. This is from the South Carolina Emergency Management Division. The Lexington County Sheriff, as we know, confirms 2 fatalities, more than 50 injured, transported to the hospital. Shelter for passengers open at the Pine Ridge Middle School. Media update at 6:30 a.m., which is 26 minutes from now. There will be a briefing. I will try to bring that to you. They say the staging area, does it say where this is, where it was? Hang on. Lexington Sheriff, does it say where the trash was? Derailment, it was near Charleston Highway and Pine Ridge Road. Charleston Highway and Pine Ridge Road is where this happened. So let's look at Pine Ridge, KC, South Carolina. Let's see if that works. So there is Pine Ridge Road. Well, I'm not finding the exactly, but basically somewhere in here. Well, there it says Pine Ridge Road. I don't know where. I can't get you an exact intersection here, but we're looking at the Columbia, just outside of Columbia, South Carolina, and KC is actually in Metro, South Carolina. I am now seeing 3 killed. This is CNN is reporting 3 dead, 50 plus injured. So let me update that now. We do not even know how this happened. How would an Amtrak passenger train collide with a CSX freight train? That seems like a giant screw up there, and very tragic too, now that we have 3 people dead, over 50 injured. So let me just update the death toll on our headline there. 3 dead. And I'm just tweeting this out. CNN now reporting 3rd death in Amtrak train collision. And a big question I have about this, as I've said before, the Amtrak statement said this was at 2:35 a.m. and that's the Fox News article says this because the Amtrak statement said this. I find it very hard to believe that this could have happened 3.5 hours ago and there were fatalities and a derailment, and word really only started coming out about this about 45 minutes ago. That was the soonest I've seen people reporting on it. So it would seem odd to me that you have this train crash and for 3 hours nobody reports on it. And if that turns out to be true, I would ask, like, well, Amtrak, why didn't you say this sooner? But maybe the time given in these articles is just wrong. Okay, let's try to get you some more information here about this train crash. So so the Amtrak statement, they sent this statement out at 5:45 a.m. and their statement did say the crash was at 2:35 a.m. How is that possible? Did they just sit on the news that their train crashed for like 2.5 hours? So here's a new tweet from the Lexington County Sheriff's Department. That is the local police department there. It says, numerous Lexington County Sheriff's Department numerous police deputies are on the scene of the passenger train versus freight train to secure the scene, assist South Carolina, I don't know what that is, troopers with traffic control on surrounding roads and transport passengers to shelter. It sounds like there's still passengers there, which would also be confusing if this happened 3 hours ago, unless if they've been trying to get people out of the wreck. But anyways, yeah, so it might have, the time reporting of it being 2:35 a.m. might have been a mistake due to time zones or something like that. I don't know. So they're supposed to do some kind of press briefing in 22 minutes. We'll bring this to you if we can. And thanks again, Guinevere in the chat room and Lynn Jean for moderating the chat. If you're hearing updates out there that we haven't reported on, give me a shout on Twitter. I am at Lookner, at Lookner. Telly Wald sent me a feed from the Lexington Ledger. I can't show that, Telly. That's a news organization's feed. I can't just take their feed and show it to you. But if anybody wants to go look at that, open up that window in addition to this one, you can go to Facebook, the Lexington Ledger feed, and find out for them. They were live. They're not live anymore, actually, so you can't watch them live. But that gives me an idea. I sort of would like to see if the Lexington Ledger has some sort of page or Twitter feed or something. Maybe they have some updated information, or maybe they don't. Okay, this is the local story. Okay, this is the local story from the local paper. Amtrak train hits another train in Pine Ridge. It says, Amtrak train has believed to be to hit another train. It's a CSX freight train. We've heard that. And it says it happened around 2:30 a.m. Sunday. So confusing if that's true. It happened near the intersection of Pine Ridge Drive and Highway 321 South, or Charleston Highway. Currently, rescuers are on the scene from across the Midlands. Many patients have been transported to nearby hospitals. Their injuries range from critical to just being cold. The coroner's office is also on the scene. Well, people are confirmed dead in that accident now, so that makes sense. Right now, there are buses on there from several counties, and they have notified school districts and the Recreation Commission to transport the uninjured to a shelter at a nearby school, so there are some people who are uninjured. The ones that have been transported to hospitals have traveled by EMS buses, ambulances, and by other means. There was a medical helicopter that landed at the SC State Farmers Market, but it is not known if they have transported anyone. We have been told that there were more than 140 people on the train at the time of the collision. First arriving firefighters had to walk toward the front of the train to find the most critically injured. They were met by a number of what they described as walking wounded who were on foot moving toward the rear of the train. One car is damaged and to the point they cannot get into it right now. Wow, that's kind of crazy. I need to tweet that out. That is from the... One car is damaged to the point that rescuers cannot get into it yet. Wow. So let me tweet this out. Lexington Ledger on Amtrak crash. They literally just said one car is damaged to the point they cannot get into it right now. So that's not good. And look what else it said in this paragraph in the Lexington Ledger. First arriving firefighters had to walk toward the front of the train to find the most critically injured. They were met by a number of what they described as walking wounded who were on foot moving toward the rear of the train. So this Lexington Ledger, the local paper, is saying one car is damaged to the point where the rescuers can't even get in the car right now. There might be a lot more injured and dead. I hope that's not the case, but that is very, very worrying news. I wonder, does the Lexington Ledger actually have a... I don't even know if they have a Twitter feed, to be quite honest. One way to find out. The Lexington Ledger, as far as I can tell, doesn't even have a Twitter feed. They just have on a site. So we'll keep checking that site. But that is a new breaking news here that, according to the Lexington Ledger, one of the cars is damaged so badly that the rescuers have not even been able to get inside it yet. And people damaged. It looks like the injured were concentrated in the front of the train, and they were walking back from the train, and that's when the rescuers were able to get to them, back from the front of the train. So, but looks like there's one car right now, if that report is true, that they can't even get to the rescuers. That is not good news at all. So let's see. If you're hearing anything new on this, give me a shout at Lookner on Twitter. In the meantime, I will try to get you more information here. There is supposed to be a briefing in about 17 minutes. I am just utterly baffled at the report saying this crash happened at 2:35 a.m. because that would have been a good almost 3 hours before anybody reported on it at all, which seems very odd. So to summarize what we know, a freight train, an Amtrak train traveling in between New York and Miami collided with a CSX freight train just outside of Columbia, South Carolina, sometime early this morning / this evening. There are 3 dead. There are at least 50 injured. There reportedly is a train car that's damaged so badly that the rescuers haven't been able to get inside it yet. We don't know how this happened. The engine of the train derailed, as did several other cars. We have not seen any photos of the train yet or any video of the train, which I also find odd if it's really true this happened 3 hours ago. I would think somebody would have posted a photo by now. Of something, very, very odd. I can't remember the last time there's been some kind of accident like this, and there wasn't some sort of photo within some sort of time. So, anyways, that's what we know right now. This information just coming in, and we'll keep bringing you updates here. Billy D, thanks for the donation, Billy D. Appreciate it. Lucas Tomlinson from Fox says this is the 3rd Amtrak crash since December. I don't remember which are which, but I'm focusing right now on getting the breaking news about this one. Maybe I'll go back and look at that later. So, in 15 minutes or so, we're supposed to have a media update. What's this here? Nope, that's not new. Just checking a couple different sources. I'm worried. What's concerning me is that, when we first came on the air about 20 minutes ago, there were no deaths reported and no injuries. All we knew was there were some injuries. Then all of a sudden we heard 2 dead, 50 injured. Now we're hearing 3 dead, 50 injured. I'm worried that this is going to keep rising. I hope it doesn't. But just trying to figure out what's going on here. I've heard no specific details about how the crash happened, what part of the trains crashed, any of that stuff. Is there anything here? Okay, Red Cross South Carolina says disaster-trained volunteers and staff are responding. They posted that. Whoa, is that from today? Hey, somebody sent me a video, but it's not from today. It's from yesterday, and it's from 9:32 a.m. So that would be nice. That would have been nice video if it was legit, if it was accurate. Yeah, Keck, you gave me a video from yesterday, Keck. But thank you for trying. I think you were trying to help. Now, Teresa Poole said she heard that Fox News was reporting that the lead engine of the Amtrak train derailed and then struck the CSX train. Why it derailed, we don't know. So that's the first I've heard of this. I can't confirm this report, of course, but one of our viewers, Teresa Poole, said she heard, according to her, on Fox, they're saying that the engine derailed and then hit the freight train, and they don't know why it derailed. Now, I can't confirm that. I haven't heard that anywhere else. Let me see if I can find any more information about that. What's going on here exactly? Sorry, I'm just doing something. Come on. There we go. Very little information out on this right now, but we're just trying to get more for you. Let me see if the actual Fox story has anything about that. Yeah, the actual Fox story doesn't have that information about the derailment. It just has details that we've seen before. In about 11 minutes, we're supposed to. Oh, I'm seeing a new photo. Okay, let me see if I can find this one. Fox is showing a photo of the crash of a train like one car is like sideways off the track. So let's see if I can find that for you. I don't know if they've posted it on Twitter yet. But they were showing a photo on Fox of the scene, and one of the trains was like on the tracks, and the next one was like at a 90-degree angle to it, like kind of facing off the track, strangely. Here it is. I got it. This is the photo they were showing on Fox. Now, this person who posted it, I know it's not their photo. Oh, let's see. Do they have another site that's posting it? Let's see. Hang on a second. Okay, this is from this site, newspress.com. I don't know where they got it, but that's the photo right there that Fox was showing. That's the photo Fox was showing right there. And it's a photo you can see. It's the same photo Fox is showing, and it has the train car. You can see the one on the right is like off the tracks. The tracks are going left to right, and that train car on the right there is like at a 90-degree angle to the tracks. So that is the photo that I just saw on Fox, and we just started seeing that photo on social media out there. So we are waiting about 9 minutes. We're supposed to have a press conference about this train crash. Again, what we know, an Amtrak train going in between New York and Miami struck a CSX freight train just outside of Columbia, South Carolina. And just in, the injury toll, according to Fox, is 70 injured. 70 injured now. So I want to fix our headline now. 70 injured. Fox is saying 70 injured now. I'm going to tweet this out. Fox. 70 injured in, Amtrak train collision. So that's not good news. We don't know about the seriousness of those injuries. I would assume some are serious, and several people did die. LMC Jazz said he or she has heard that most are not life-threatening injuries. Teresa Poole says Fox is reporting diesel fuel was in the CSX train, so hazmat is on the way. Let me also do one quick thing here that'll help me a little bit. Hang on, I'll just do this, do this. Okay. Fox is saying a hazmat team is on the way. I just saw that myself on Fox. So 70 injured right now. 70 injured. CNN is saying 3 dead. Right, and Fox is saying that they heard that most of the injured are minor injuries, but I can't confirm that, so we'll keep an eye on that. Okay, let me see if I can find anything new here for you. There's that report that we saw from the Lexington Ledger a little while ago that said one car is damaged so badly that rescuers can't get to it yet. I don't know if that's still the case. Maybe rescuers have gotten to that car already. I don't know. Now, Lexington Sheriff, CNN was saying 3 dead. Are they still saying 3 dead? Because Lexington Sheriff just posted 2 minutes ago, confirmed Lexington County Coroner Margaret Fisher has confirmed 2 deaths in passenger train versus freight train. Now, is CNN still saying 3? This was Amtrak Train 91. Amtrak Train 91. It was going in between Miami and New York, or I think it's from New York to Miami. I'm not sure. It crashed into a CSX freight train sometime in the last few hours. Amtrak is saying it happened 3.5 hours ago, 4 hours ago, which doesn't make much sense to me that it would take so long to hear about it, because we only started hearing about it about an hour ago. And in about 5 minutes, the engine and several cars from the Amtrak train did derail. And I want to see, I'd like to get you that that press conference if I can. So give me 1 second, guys. Let me just take a second here and see if I can find a way to get that press conference to you that they're going to do in a few minutes here. That's not it. That might be it. Sorry, folks, just taking 1 second so I can hopefully get this up on the air if I can set it up here. All right, I'll keep watching here. So I'm going to keep an eye out for that, try to get you that press conference. If not, I will tell you the information as soon as it comes out. All passengers are off the train. This is an update. All passengers are now off the train. This is just in from Lexington Sheriff, the local sheriff there. All passengers are off the train. That is good news. So there's no one trapped. If there was anybody trapped before, they're not trapped now. All passengers are off the train, Amtrak Train 91. I wonder if I get a schedule for Amtrak Train 91. That I might be able to do. Train schedules. Southbound train. This is going to tell us when this crash happened. Assuming the train took off on time, this would have left from New York at 11:02 a.m. and been outside of South Carolina. Well, this says 2:35 a.m. It would have been outside of Denmark, South Carolina. So it looks though, if you look here though, this is confusing. This is very confusing. So it looks like this accident maybe did happen at 2:35 a.m. I need to tweet out about this. Amtrak says this accident, this collision happened at 2:35 a.m. If so, extremely odd that no one was reporting it until approximately 3 hours later. Just very strange. So if this is the schedule for the 91 train that goes from New York to Miami, which I believe, which the train tonight was the 91. This is a train schedule. So now let me, assuming that is the correct schedule, that would put it in South Carolina around the time that they said that accident happened. But very confusing as to why. Now, that wasn't the Amtrak site. I'd kind of like to get the Amtrak site. Amtrak. Tracking. Here is the Amtrak tracking site, I believe. Let's try to track train 91. CNN is now saying 2 dead, by the way. This site stinks. I type in 91 and I search and I get nothing. Let's try this one. Here's Amtrak. Track your train. Okay. This is where I was before. And I typed in 91 before. And nothing happened. Look, I type in 91. What happens on their site? Nothing. I get nothing. I get literally nothing on their site when I type in 91. Thanks, guys. That's great. Great tracking site, Amtrak. So there's supposed to be a press conference starting shortly, and I will do my best to get it to you. If not, I will get you the information right as it comes out. No, I have to change the headline here because CNN had it as 3 dead. They're now back to 2 dead. The authorities are saying 2 dead now confirmed. So we saw a report saying all the passengers were off the train. We just saw that. Let me just tweet out. CNN has changed death toll in Amtrak crash back down to 2. Was 3. All right. So what we know is 2 dead, 70 injured. This happened right near Columbia, South Carolina. The train was apparently the 91 train going from New York to Miami. It ran into a CSX freight train. We don't know how. The engine in several other cars of the Amtrak train derailed. We don't know how. We don't know. One of our viewers claimed they heard on Fox that the derailment might have happened before the train hit the CSX train. We don't know that for sure. If you're hearing any updates or seeing any updates, give me a shout on Twitter, @Lookner, @LOOKNER. Let me know. Let's see here. What is this? I was just sent some photos from Cookie Crisp, our viewer, sent some photos from 11 Alive News in Atlanta. They're posting these photos. So that supposedly is a photo of the train, because this is on the 11 Alive News site. This is supposedly a photo of the train from the 11 Alive News site. Thank you again, Cookie Chris, for sending this to me. That's 11 Alive Atlanta posted this photo. That is, you can see that looks like it's probably the front because that's where the injuries happen. And that car, I don't know if the car is on its side there. or what? All right, that's one photo. Let's see if there are any more here. This is another one. This is another photo. We are getting these from the 11 Alive NBC site. I have not seen these before. There is another photo of that Amtrak train. So, wow. That's the middle of the train, and two cars are just off the track right there. There's a shot. So those two shots. Now let's see. Here's another one. That's a close-up. I think of those, maybe the two cars we saw before. I don't know. That might be different than these. No, it looks like a close-up of this one. I can't tell. Anyways. There's that one. You can see somebody sitting on the side of the train with like their hoodie on. See passengers sitting on the side there and standing next to the train. Wow, some incredible photos there. Thank you, Cookie Chris, for letting me know those photos were out there. So we are continuing to cover this train accident. No word on how it happened. We have no word on that yet. See if, oh, Lexington Ledger is on Twitter. I didn't know that. I thought they weren't. The Lexington Ledger is on Twitter, but they haven't posted anything since 2015. All right, well, we won't look at their Twitter page then. That's not going to be helpful. There's supposed to be a news conference any time now. It hasn't started yet, though. It's supposed to be a media briefing at 6:30 a.m. It has not started yet. So again, all passengers are off the train now. If you have updates, give me a shout on Twitter, at Lookner, at Lookner. Let me know. Waiting for this briefing to start. Hopefully we can get some more information when that briefing starts. Any time now. It was supposed to start 5 minutes ago. It has not started yet. ABC News says Lexington County Governor? What? Lexington County Government? PIO, Public Information Officer, maybe. Harrison Cahill. So County Government Public Information Officer Harrison Cahill tells ABC number of injuries is up to 70, ranging in severity. Still waiting for this media briefing to start. Now, gosh, now that Amtrak, wasn't that the one in Washington State? That was an Amtrak train, was it not? The Washington crash, and that derailed. So I don't know if there's maybe a similar cause of the derailment. In that train, I believe I read a story that said the engineer of the train sort of took a turn too fast and lost awareness of where he was in the turn. But no idea what caused this one tonight. Yeah, that was an Amtrak crash. That was in December 18th. So this is the second. That happened on December 18th, that derailment in Washington. And that was 3 people died and 62 were injured on that one, and that was December 18th in Washington. And now we have another Amtrak crash. So again, we're expecting any time now a news conference about this crash. We will hopefully be able to bring it to you right when it happens. I'm keeping my eye on it and watching some other things here too. And in the meantime, I'm just trying to find out more information here. LMC Jazz says, were people on their way to the Super Bowl or not? Well, no, because the Super Bowl's in Minneapolis and this train was headed to Miami. So these people were not on their way to the Super Bowl. So we have to sum up what we know so far, we have 2 dead and 70 injured in a train collision just outside of Columbia, South Carolina. An Amtrak train, which was traveling from New York to Miami, somehow hit a CSX freight train. A number of the cars of the Amtrak train were derailed, and all the passengers are now off the train. And here are some photos that 11 Alive was showing. 11 Alive in Atlanta had these photos up of the incident there from the scene. No, I didn't want to do that. I want to do this. You can see right there. Just that big question of why did this happen? I don't know if anyone on the freight train was hurt. Thanks again to Lynn, Jean, and Guinevere moderating in the chat room. Much appreciated. These are just some photos from the scene. Oh, I don't think we saw that photo before. All right. Still waiting on the briefing. The briefing was supposed to be 6:30. Now it's 6:39. No briefing yet. Let me know if you're hearing anything new. I am at Lookner on Twitter, also, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell so you get notified whenever we're coming on the air with these live breaking videos. As you can see, we can come on at any time with these live breaking news videos. Also, thank you. A couple people donated before in the chat room. We appreciate it. We're a viewer-supported network, in case you were wondering. So if you do like having a place to go for breaking news, different than the mainstream media, if you want to donate at some point, you can go to the bottom of the YouTube chat. There's a little $sign on there. You can click on the $sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. But thank you to the people who donated. That's how we stay on the air, so we appreciate it. Brad Barnard says, do we know if these are human or computer controlled? Brad, I don't believe there are computer controlled trains running around on the tracks these days. I would think they all are human controlled, Brad, unless I'm wrong. But definitely Amtrak passenger trains aren't running around without people on them. But I would assume there are no freight trains running around without people on them either. So they're all human controlled. So really just trying to find you new news at this point. I'm getting a lot of the same news. I want to find you new news. Oh, hold on. I think the briefing's about to start. Let me see if I can find this briefing here. Give me 1 sec, guys. Give me 1 second. Hang on a second. I'm getting it up here for you. Give me 1 second.
We've not activated the State Emergency Operations Center in terms of a full activation like we're used to. We do have a limited crew, but I'm going to give you very briefly the rundown of who's going to speak. It's going to be Harrison Cahill with Lexington County, who's Public Information Officer from Lexington County. Then we've got Captain Adam Myrick from the Lexington County Sheriff's Department and Cuthbert Langley from the Red Cross. So right now I'm just going to turn it directly over to Harrison. Yes.
Good morning, everybody. Just give you a brief statement on what we've got going on here. Lexington County Emergency Management, as well as their fire service and EMS, responded to the Charleston Highway Pine Ridge intersection in reference to a train derailment at about 2:45 this morning. When we arrived on scene, we immediately began assessing the situation. What we found was two different trains, a passenger train and a freight train, that collided. What we immediately went into was a search and rescue mode. We were able to begin to extract and assist passengers off of that train. At this time, all passengers are off of the train. That is very important to put out there. Unfortunately, there were 2 fatalities as a result of this collision. We're working with the coroner's office here in Lexington County very closely with that. At this time, we have transported about 7 patients with various injuries to local area hospitals. One thing that I'd like to point out is the extreme cooperation between all of the entities you see here, including, the list goes on, including City of Columbia, Richland County, Fort Jackson, CERT, DHEC. All of those agencies have been moving and operating within this location to assist and make sure that all of this is taken care of appropriately. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Captain Adam Myrick from the Lexington County Sheriff's Department to tell you about his involvement and their agency's involvement in this incident.
Good morning. I'm Captain Adam Myrick, last name spelled M-Y-R-I-C-A. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our role in this response this morning. We are on scene, making sure that scene remains secure. That is really the top focus of our units that are near the crash site. Make sure the scene remains secure, and that means everyone can then work as they need to. The first responders will be safe there, and we're working alongside all of the agencies that are here. As Mr. Cahill mentioned, there are a number of them. We are also teaming up with state troopers to control traffic in the area. We've got some traffic checkpoints, not checkpoints, but traffic control points that we are also working, making sure that we have the proper access, and those who need to access the site can get there. Those who don't quite yet at this point, we're keeping those in a location and at a safe distance so we as first responders can do our work. Something else the deputies have done here in the last hour or so is we have transported those who are not injured to the reception site. So we know that they are shaken up quite a bit. We know that this is unlike anything else that they have ever been through. So we wanted to get them out of the cold, get them out of the weather, get them to a warm place. So we have transported them in our units to the reception site, which is going to be opened up by the American Red Cross. With that, I'll turn it over to Cuthbert Langley from the American Red Cross to tell you a little bit about the operation there at the reception site.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Cuthbert Langley. That's C-U-T-H-B-E-R-T-L-A-N-G-L-E-Y, spokesperson for the South Carolina Red Cross. We are supporting the opening of that reception site at Pine Ridge Middle School. We also have more than a dozen volunteers and staff that are either on their way here or here right now. Those staff members and volunteers are coming from across the state to assist with this effort. We have emergency response vehicle that's coming as well that will be at the reception site to provide all water and snacks and those sorts of things. And we are going to continue to work with the government partners we see up here with first responders and assist them as the investigation and as the day progresses. Again, the Red Cross is going to be here for as long as needed. We're going to step in any way that we are asked to help, because obviously today it is quite a tragic day for so many people, and the Red Cross is going to be here to help for as long as needed.
All right, this time, any questions?
What was roadblock at this point?
Right now, the only roads blocked would be Pine Ridge Drive, and it's the one that runs right here next to PMD all the way down to the Union line.
Can you characterize the 70 injuries?
I'll let Harrison take care of that for you.
So the 70 injuries range, obviously, in variety. We have anything from small scratches and bumps to more severe broken bones. So they kind of run the gamut in between that.
Are they non-life-threatening?
That at that time, I don't have that information, but I can get that information.
Could you go over again the basics of what happened here? I wasn't going at the very beginning, so I have some detail. What happened this morning?
Yeah, so there was a train collision and derailment near Charleston Highway and Pine Ridge Drive between a freight train and a passenger train. When we arrived on scene, we began assisting passengers off of that train. At this time, there are no passengers on the train. It's very important to put that out. There were about 7 passengers that were transported to local area hospitals for various injuries. There were 2 fatalities according to the Lexington County Coroner's Office. That has been confirmed. And right now, we're also asking people that if they have any concerns or want more information to call Amtrak Info Line. That number is 1-800-523-9101. Again, that's the Amtrak Info Line. That's 1-800-523-9101.
Were the fatalities CSX?
At that point, I don't have that. At this point, I don't have that information. That will probably come out either from CSX or the Lexington County Coroner's Office.
Do you know which direction the trains were traveling?
At this point, no. We just know that they collided on the tracks. Not at this time. That will be up to the investigation of CSX and the National NTSB.
What about hazardous material on the CSX train?
There was our hazmat team did respond. We were able to secure 2 leaks of fuel from the trains. Right now, we're estimating about 5,000 gallons of fuel has spilled. We have called in DHEC and CSX's DHEC, the team, to secure that leak, and we are also assisting in that as much as we can.
So no threat to the greater public at this point?
No threat to the public at this time.
Sheriff, I'm sure every year you guys must think of 2005 Granville, anytime you hear the train wreck, that immediately comes to mind. Can you talk about the amount of training you guys do?
Absolutely. Well, this is not our first train derailment. We've had mentioned the Granville incident in 2005. This is nothing like that. Unfortunately, we had many more people who were affected directly by this incident. It's unfortunate that we have 2 fatalities. Our hearts are with those families right now. We want to make sure right now the focus is on the passengers on that train. They have someplace warm, that any unmet needs that they may have, that those are being attended to. But we do have extensive training working with our local first responders and our county emergency managers in terms of who calls who, where do you go to get resources, how can we reach out to any of the train companies and so forth. So you're absolutely right. It's something that we look at every single year.
Anything the public should do to help you?
Right now, stay away from this area. If you were going to come to Pine Ridge for whatever reason, might be best to delay your trip or your plans for the next couple of hours. If there's any information, call that Amtrak number that Harrison just gave. If there's anything that we can do or any information that you might need, especially if you have a loved one who was on board this train, call that telephone number. Harrison can give it right here directly in just a minute. Yeah. Fortunately, this is a relatively low traffic area in terms of, especially on Sunday. Highway 321 traffic impact should be minimal.
Can you talk about, I guess, the span of wreckage? Is it quarter of a mile, half a mile?
Yeah, that's one of the things we're trying to determine, get more information for you. We'll have all of that type of thing, especially in regards to what the NTSB is doing, what Amtrak is doing, that will all. All right, we'll try to have another briefing as we have more information, but this will be the Road Information Center, the media briefing area, so any official information about this incident will come from right here. And of course, you guys have our telephone number, so anything comes up, just give us a call, okay? Thank you very much.
Okay, so that was the live briefing from South Carolina authorities. And we didn't really get much new information there. I mean, They said that the crash happened around 2:45 a.m. They said it was a crash between an Amtrak passenger train and a CSX freight train. They didn't say why the crash happened. There obviously have been some cars derailed because we've seen photos of that, but really no word on why this crash happened. They confirmed 2 fatalities. You know, it's weird. The South Carolina authorities already posted a half an hour ago that 50 plus were injured. I thought the guy said twice 7 people were transported to local hospitals, but the number we've been hearing reported was 70. So he might have said 70 and it sounded like 7. So I was a little confused by that. He said there was a range of injuries from small scratches to broken bones. He cannot say, he said he couldn't say whether any of the injuries were life-threatening. So he couldn't say that. All the people are off the trains at this point. So there's that. So we really just don't know why this crash happened. We don't even know, Fox, I guess, had a report before suggesting that the derailment might have happened before the crash, and that's how they crashed. One train came off the rails and hit the other. We don't even know if that happened. We really know nothing except these 2 trains somehow crashed into each other, and now we have 2 people dead and, from what the reports we're hearing, 70 plus injured. So, and just some photos that 11 Alive posted we've been showing you, for those of you who haven't seen them yet. Oops, let me do this. Here we go. Here are some photos from the scene. So definitely cars derailed. If you're hearing anything new about this, give me a shout on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. I got to say, I've been saying it before, but it's pretty surprising to me that this accident happened at around 2:45 a.m. The first reports of this accident were not until almost 3 hours later. It's stunning to me that that if you go back and you look before, until about 3 hours later, literally not a peep about this accident. Now, I'm surprised because I would think Amtrak knew about this pretty fast, and also CSX. So it's a little odd to me that CSX and Amtrak reported nothing. I mean, now Amtrak or CSX could have come out and said, look, we think that there's been an incident with one of our trains. We're not sure yet. We're getting details. But just nothing from them, as far as I'm aware, until hours after this happened. Because that's the first I heard of it. Maybe they said something before and I never heard of it. But the first I started hearing of it was, almost 3 hours after this happened. Now let's see if Amtrak has posted anything on their Twitter. Amtrak posted this 38 minutes ago. That's all they posted. Individuals with questions regarding passengers on train 91 can contact us at that number. See if you guys sent me anything else. Guy Ingham says, check CSX, see if any work was being done on tracks in that area. I'm not sure how I can check easily CSX construction. CSX has nothing on their Twitter feed about this, just nothing. Yeah, I don't see any simple CSX construction site, at least from first glance here. LMC Jazz says the briefing was just on Fox. I watched it. No new news. It was just on Right Side Broadcasting too, and we watched it. LMC Jazz, where were you? Oh, maybe you don't know we're on. LMC Jazz might just think I'm posting on Twitter and doesn't realize I'm on the air. Well, now you know. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe you don't know. LMC Jazz, you should be watching Right Side Broadcasting. No, LMC Jazz is watching because they posted a screenshot of this broadcast. Anyways. So the real big question is, how did this happen? I got to say also, like, first of all, as a human, of course, these kind of accidents, they're really sad and terrible because people die and are injured from something that's avoidable. I mean, these kinds of things shouldn't happen, obviously. So that's thing one, is just people dead and injured. But thing two is, look, I'm assuming it's Amtrak. So if it ends up being Amtrak's fault, then all these people are going to sue Amtrak, and that's going to be taxpayer money that pays that out. Like, I would think in the Washington crash, because that was from what we're hearing, it sounds like it was the engineer's fault, because I saw, if the story I read was true, the engineer misjudged where they were taking the train. This is the December Amtrak crash. Anyways, but there was nothing else involved there. Another train wasn't involved there. And so again, if it is true that it was human Amtrak error in the December crash, I'm assuming Amtrak will get sued and lots of taxpayer money will end up getting paid out. And I assume that something similar might happen here too. So that's not the number one concern, is that people die and get hurt in an accident, which is avoidable, which is of course the number one concern. But it also is bothersome to me as an American taxpayer that these kind of things seem to be happening regularly, and it's going to cost a lot of money to deal with it. So that's another issue. Teresa Poole says, Fox reported that the first responders began the search within 10 minutes after the crash, busy with rescue. Personally, I'm wondering why the delay as well. So, hang on one second, guys. Is this a replay here? Oh, yeah, Fox was replaying something. I thought there was like a new briefing. It's odd to me, no passengers had a phone and tweeted out a photo of this crash. That's odd. And nothing, not a peep from CSX or Amtrak for a couple hours after the crash. It's just so odd. I mean, if I had told you at the start of the night, there's going to be an Amtrak crash with a CSX freight train, and 2 people are going to be dead and 70 injured, but there are going to be and it's going to happen right next to a fairly large, town, Columbia, South Carolina. And then I told you, but no one's going to hear about it for 2 hours and 45 minutes anywhere on social media. You'd be like, that's impossible. But it happened. Okay, we're going to be on here a little while longer here. If this is like the Washington crash, I'm guessing we're not going to get any kind of word on cause anytime soon. We haven't gotten official cause yet on that Washington crash, and that was December 18th. So, the other thing is now you got 2 companies involved, Amtrak and CSX. I'm sure they're not going to be that forthcoming with information because there's like lawsuits up the wazoo, as a phrase I've used before, between those 2 companies, and people will be suing both of them. So all of that stuff is happening too. I wonder what the temperature is there. Is it cold there? Now, so I'm looking at the Columbia, South Carolina weather, and it says 41 degrees, so it wasn't super freezing. There might have been some rain going on at the time, but it might have been raining a little bit, but it wasn't like super, 10 degrees or something there. No blizzard or anything. If you have comments on this as we sort of get to the last part of the stream, give me a shout on Twitter. Oh, one thing that LMC Jazz reminded me of that I wrote here. I'm on Twitter at @Lookner, by the way, @Lookner. Also, you can follow me for breaking news posts. I post about breaking news all the time, @Lookner on Twitter. So during that press briefing, The briefing did say that 5,000 gallons of fuel did spill out from both trains. Freddie, what did you just send me? Freddie sent me that the NTSB just put out a news release on this. No, this is the news release on Washington State Amtrak derailment. Okay, I haven't seen this yet. Yeah, this is from the Washington State one. The engineer told investigators he was aware the curve with 30-mile-per-hour speed restriction was at milepost 19.8 and that he planned to initiate braking about 1 mile prior to the curve. He saw milepost 16 and 17, but didn't recall seeing milepost 18 or the 30-mile-an-hour advanced speed sign. So basically, the engineer, to me, sounds like he was saying he didn't see the signs he was supposed to see that would have told him to slow down the train on time. This is the article. I read an article which talked about this. So anyways, if you want to read about this is about the NTSB update. Go to the NTSB website. Thank you for sending that, Freddie. But that's about the Washington collision in December, not this one tonight. Oh, I think I get what LMC Jazz might have done. LMC Jazz, I think, posted at Lookner. The briefing was just on Fox. I watched it. No news. No, I didn't watch it on Fox. No, I forget it. I take it back. Take it back. Don Jolly, our viewer, writes, and I was on an Amtrak train a few years ago that broke down for hours in July outside of Texarkana, and if it wouldn't have been for me calling my mother to let her know what was happening, we wouldn't have received Red Cross assistance. Pregnant women and children, no water. Thanks, Don, for writing in. Let me just check the chat room here. The thing I don't know is, in these photos, aren't there? Yeah, if you look at the photos, there are two sets of tracks. So it's not just one track there, because you can see there are two sets of tracks there. So I don't know if the freight train was on the same track as this one, as the Amtrak train, and that was the accident? Or did one of the trains derail and hit the other one or something? Or, who knows? But you can't really say right now how this even happened. Here are these photos again. But you can see two sets of tracks there. It's not just one set of tracks. Two sets of tracks right there. Two sets of tracks. Okay, we're going in a moment to wrap up this stream because we're not really getting much new news. If I see anything new, I'll post it on my Twitter, although it might not be in the next couple hours because I was about to get some sleep when this happened. So I'm going to sleep a little bit so I can be awake for tomorrow. But follow me on Twitter if you want. At Lookner on Twitter, at Lookner. And we are at Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube. You can subscribe to us there. Click the notifications bell so you get notified when we're coming on the air with one of these videos. Also, Facebook, we're at Right Side Broadcasting on Facebook. And on Twitter, we're at RSB Network. Big thanks, by the way, to Lynn Jean and Guinevere. I think it was Lynn Jean and Guinevere. It was definitely Lynn Jean, if I'm remembering right, who were up early this morning. Lynn Jean is still up with us, so thank you for being up early, moderators, and moderating the chat room. I'm going to just check the chat rooms right now real quick to see what's going on there while I have a second. On Facebook, thanks for everybody who's watching on Facebook and also people who are participating in the chat on Facebook. We got Jeffrey Fowler, Vicky D'Amata, Javon Pratt, Jeffrey Fowler again, Marcy Shelton Love, And then in the YouTube chat, got a bunch of people with us up early morning. So somebody says Facebook. Yeah, we broadcast on both YouTube and Facebook. Barbara Langdon in the YouTube chat says he's 45 miles from where this happened. And someone else said, someone in the chat room said, Liberty or Death says, I think they do have a black box. Yeah, these trains have those black box, whatever things on them that record all the data from the train. So hopefully both trains will have those available and they can help them figure out what happened. I wonder, also these trains have cameras on them too. So especially if this was a frontal collision, there very well could be video of this collision. Maybe 2 sets of video from both trains. So hopefully they'll be able to figure out what happened. Thank you, Dan the Plumber, for saying thank you. Thank you, Stephen Jones. Really quick, so we're going to wrap up our coverage now. An Amtrak freight train and a CSX freight train collided outside of South Carolina. 2 dead, 70 injured. Several of the Amtrak cars derailed. We have no idea why this happened. No one has said anything about why this happened yet. All the passengers are off the train, and that's all we really know right now. Two dead, around 70 injured. All right. Thank you, Hillbilly Nitro. Appreciate it. And thanks to those people who donated. We are viewer supported. Your donations keep us on the air. If you like having a place to go besides the mainstream media for your news coverage, please consider donating. Also, I will say, I know we had some information tonight on before the networks even had it on. So if you like having this option for your breaking news coverage, please consider donating. To donate, speaking of donating, Budget Girl just made a donation. You can do what Budget Girl did. Go to the bottom of the YouTube chat and click on the little dollar sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat. Thank you, Budget Girl. Budget Girl says, "Do you sleep, Steve? Thank you for keeping us informed." Yeah, I gotta sleep. I gotta get some sleep now. That's what I gotta do. And also, if you're not watching on YouTube, you can also donate by going to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. Teresa Poole, thank you. And thanks so much to everybody who wrote in. A number of you wrote in, helped me cover this news here. You sent in photos, you sent in links. So big thumbs up to everybody who wrote me and sent in your comments and your news link. I appreciate it. Okay, thank you, Corwin Garland, thank you. Sandy Hollabaugh, thank you. Liberty or Death, thank you. Barbara Langdon says, you beat Fox for sure. Fox was pretty up to date on this, though, I will say. They were doing some good reporting on this tonight. Candace, thanks. Hillbilly, thank you. And Scott Stensrud, thank you. Lynn Jean, again, thanks. Stephen Jones. And everybody at Facebook as well. Everybody watching on Facebook, thanks you for watching. So, again, our thoughts go out to everybody hurt and really sad. 2 deaths in this. People just getting on a train, going apparently from New York to Miami, and then they just get killed in a train accident. So that's really terrible, and lots of people hurt. Our thoughts are with all of them tonight. Hopefully no more fatalities. Hopefully these injuries aren't that serious. I'll post on my Twitter if I hear more. But that's going to wrap up our coverage of this. Another Amtrak accident. Not good at all. So, but we don't know whose fault it was right now. Could have been the CSX train's fault. We just don't know. So I'll post more when I hear more about this. But for now, thanks for joining us here at Right Side Broadcasting for our coverage of this accident this morning. I am Steve Lookner. From all of us here at Right Side Broadcasting, have a good rest of your morning and a good day. And if there's breaking news later today, we will, of course, be on the air and cover it for you. So for now, again, have a good one, and this has been Right Side Broadcasting's coverage, and we will see you soon with more news, I'm sure. Have a good one.